Broc Glover here at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas, where we're getting ready for round 7, the Monster Energy AMA Supercross Championship, round 2 for the 250 East Coast. And the Dunlop Motorcycle Tires Track Walk, and I have a very special co-host, Ryan Dungey, Hall of Famer, 4-time Supercross champ, 9-time AMA, got a million wins, I don't know. So thanks for joining us.
No, it's good to be here. I'm excited. I'm ready to get underway. I, of course, love Texas, love being here. Grew up here as a little kid, spent a lot of time, and even just getting to race in the stadium when it first opened in 2010. Was fortunate enough to get that win, and ever since going back here, I love it. So it's good to be here with you and excited to dissect it all.
Well, I appreciate it, Ryan, to give us all your expertise. Well, I'll try to remember to talk about the track because I have so many questions to ask you. I mean, obviously, the much success that you've had. Again, you were the inaugural winner here at we call Jerry's World. I mean, this is the Taj Mahal of stadiums. I mean, look at you can make it hold over 100,000 people there, and it's truly a remarkable stadium.
It is.
So, what about this dirt? You see this red dirt, do you get all excited?
You know, for Texas, yes. I mean, it's kind of that sandy clay. It gets a little bit hard. The top's usually kind of loose and soft, but underneath it gets kind of like a harder base. But it tends to get a little slippery too. But still better than what it was back in the day when it was just that rock hard clay. So yes, this is as a dirt bike rider or racer, you're liking this dirt for sure.
Well, I tell you, it gives the advantage to the KTM riders wearing orange. This doesn't ruin your clothes. I know when I rode Yamahas, we wore a lot of white off, and man, to come after this race, you just had to throw the jersey away. But the one thing right here, we talk about this track, it's shorter than your traditional Arlington track. Usually the Arlington tracks have been just under 2,000 feet. This one's measuring out to just under 1,700 feet. A little different here. The sideways start, honestly, I'm having flashbacks of Detroit, and I think the 250 East Coast guys are probably having those same flashbacks.
I think so. I mean, especially in that 250 class, we saw like nobody turning, at least from the inside. It kept going straight. Obviously, caused a big crash. But these left-handed, not quite a right angle, a little bit less, but it's you got a lot of speed as you can see coming in, and everything tends to just push wide, as you know. But yeah, it's. Try not to make that mistake choice.
Yeah, we got a little drone flying over, do some test pilot in here. It's kind of a neat time to do the walk right here. We talked about the lighting in this. The first time you raced here, you said that the sun was coming through the windows of the end zones, and it was just almost a surreal feeling for you, and to be able to win that first race here, that just was remarkable.
Yeah, I mean, and you said it. I mean, the stadium in itself is just unbelievable. I was even thinking, how do they even let dirt bikes in here? You see the dust going up, you got this big screen. And just being here, the dirt, there's just a lot of positives of being here racing. But as you know, when it's time to be on the gate, it's like, none of that stuff matters, like go get the job done, right? So,
yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of getting the job done, job one is getting a good start here. You talked about this. You're on the inside gate pick right here. If you look back at this, Derek, you can shoot back here a little bit. You're looking at a 90 degree here.
Yes.
And this here is a much less of an angle coming from the outside. So the riders here are shooting in their mind, they're trying to carry more speed. This guy here is just trying to get there, and if he gets there early, he wants to go wide to block the guys from the outside. And a lot of these, I'm not a huge fan of the sideways starts personally.
And I'm not either. If I had to say one thing on a positive, it does look, whether you're on the inside or, I wouldn't say completely on the outside, but you can have a good chance. If you get a good jump, you can control that first turn at least. So, but you got to execute that start, which is hugely important.
So right here, as we come into this combination, a little bit of a roller. You and I both had the luxury. Sometimes my co-hosts don't get a chance to have their team riders riding. You got to watch press day. I got to watch press day. And they did run this full section here. And this was an interesting combo.
It was. There's definitely a couple options. Some guys were, maybe not right off the start, but some guys were going over this and then doubling and then triple. They were rolling over this guy, tripling on over the table, or just jumping onto the table. There's 3 different options you could probably do in this section, which is kind of nice because but it's going to make it even that much more competitive and the racing that much closer, right?
Yeah, and the one that I saw that just the first time I saw it, I'm like, wow, this is interesting. They were wheeling in the first one, and really coming down real high wheeling.
Yep.
Loading very, very aggressively on this first jump right here to load the suspension if you can't load Supercross suspension. It's so stiff, but they were launching off of this, and Derek right here, if you can get this, they were clearing the downside of this table left here. And they were landing down here on the downside. So they were taking off of that first one. And once they did this, so the difficulty factor was about a 9 here.
Yes.
And it took them a while to get it dialed. And once they got it dialed, I saw Sexton doing it, AP doing it, obviously Hayden Deegan doing it, and some of the 250 riders. Once they got this down, this was a no-brainer. Then they're tripling off of this and then launching double into the corner where you see the track.
And the good thing about that too is you're going from small over this guy. Ideally, you want to go small to small, but the way this lines up, you get over this guy, then it's triple, double. There's really not much other you're going to do.
Yeah, I saw. I mean, Cody Schock talking about the first time he was in press day and he was doing it. Had a great Detroit in opening round. I think it was 4th, I believe. And so he was riding really, really well on the Club MX Yamaha. He came off this and he finally figured that out. Once he got that, he was all excited and he launched over this, and he flew all the way the face into the 4th. And I talked to him afterwards.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw it because I'm thinking, oh my gosh, his wheel, he was going to quad it.
Yeah. I think he thought that once he got the first one down, that this would be equally as hard. And it's kind of ironic because once you get the first one down, these two are no-brainers. But the first one is
that first one's going to be tough too, because that dang thing's is that the length from the takeoff to over the tables. You're one bail short of being a Supercross triple.
Yeah, so that's 62 to 64 feet.
If you don't get over that table,
you
don't get over the triple, which obviously you lose lots of time here. So
right here, we got to give a little shameless plug to the hard work of the Turbo's guys. We can zoom in on this bucket right here. And he drops that bucket down there, and you can see that. There you go. The Turbo's has their bucket right there. He's showing us what they groove the track with, some of the equipment that they use. So these guys work really, really hard, as you can see. Here's show out a little behind the scenes. You guys can check it out. So we go into a 180 right there. As Ryan and I were talking about, you don't always run the whole course during press day. You rarely here, what's your thought here? You got a 180 bull. You think it's going to go triple, and then double on the way out?
I would say, what are these 3-4 footers? Would you say?
Yep.
I would say the fastest is going to be triple, double. And then it all depends on race situation. If it's rutted or depending on how that unfolds, then a guy can say, all right, get in and out of that, stay low in the turn, get in and out of it, double, and get on the off lane. So, I mean, all these things are, but triple, double is what I would assume. Yep.
So, to me, the two difficult sections are on the opposite end of the course, very similar to what we had in Detroit. I'm surprised when I got here that Detroit, to me, this reminds me a little of the Detroit layout.
Yeah.
With the sideways start and all. So.
And like you said, it's going to be probably mid-40 lap time. So these guys are, again, 15, 20 minute. They're going to be doing a lot of laps. So this track's going to get pretty chewed up because it's soft.
It is. It's a little softer than I expected, but it's been in there for a while now. The dirt has. Once it sits in here all night long, it'll probably harden up a little more. The riders ride on it a bit more. So one thing you notice, I'm wearing my camo shirt, Military Appreciation Day. So thanks for all your service. For those of you who are in the military or have served in the past, my father was in the Navy, so I kind of have a little soft spot for the people who served. And,
True heroes.
True heroes, and the real heroes. We had a whole group of them out here earlier today at press day, and they'll be out tomorrow, so that's wonderful. So coming in this corner, right-hander, 180 Dunlop bowl corner. Yeah. And then this here is kind of, I'm still interesting to see what they're going to do here. I mean, it's just a pretty basic double, but it lands right into the first pre-whoop. This is your one section.
This is going to be interesting. This is kind of my first look at this, but obviously coming out of this bull turn, sometimes guys choose to stay in a gear taller and then hit this and go right in. You can say second, shift up to third, but as you can see, that starter whoop is very low. We haven't seen this in a long time.
Very, very low whoop. It's gonna, if you're coming into this right here, landing right here, you're probably gonna be actually almost backing off the throttle, which is what you don't want to be doing. And it looks like it's gonna run you right into these whoops. And I don't know, man. These things are 12 or 14 feet from tip to tip. There's about 8 of them, 9 of them counting that starter whoop.
But they're pretty laid down, so maybe not as challenging, but you're definitely gonna want to get over this jump, let that whole bike compress, and use that as everything comes up, get really light and just stay light on top. these guys, sometimes it even turns into jumping by the end of the night. So
Yeah.
you guys got to see that out too.
So let's talk about Ryan Dungey. What is it with this red thing? So you said you spent a lot of time living and growing up here as a youngster, and then you turn pro. You get this crazy story. We've all heard it. You get picked up as a B rider. Roger DeCoster likes what he sees in a tryout session. Hires you. You turn pro at your home track at Millville, Spring Creek, up in Millville, Minnesota, where you have a decent, hey, you're 7th place overall, not bad, And so you come out there the next year, they go, okay, now you're riding Supercross, kid. So they sign you up for the East Coast, give you a little extra time, and you go out and what do you do? Win the damn thing.
It was a dream. I mean, kind of pitch me moments. I mean, the outdoor started off great, but it didn't end well. So I really had to figure things out. And by the time Supercross came around, and you got to remember, for sure, I was very fortunate to be in the position I was. Did I deserve it? A lot of probably people think not, but I was like, dude, here's my opportunity. I got to take a hold of this. And I had guys like Roger and Ricky Carmike, Roger DeCoster, Ricky Carmike, Ivan Tedesco. I was watching these guys and spending all my weeks with them. And so that really, if it weren't for them, that really helped elevate and believing in myself too. Wow. That was huge. So for sure, it was a pretty cool moment.
But that first round was Atlanta. That was the opening round that year, 2007, right? Or 2000, Supercross in the West Coast there. So, and you win in Atlanta on kind of red clay like this. So. Yeah. But speaking of winning here, what the heck, Cooper Webb? He's got 5 wins at this stadium. I know one of it was the triple race we did during COVID. He won all 3 of those, which is crazy to sweep 3 different races. But he's also won, I think, in 19, and he won last year. Yep. So he loves this place. Yeah. I talked to him earlier and asked him, I go, do you get a warm, fuzzy feeling? He goes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. So there are certain places that do. Riders, you get a little anxious.
And when you win that many times at a stadium, there's a feeling you get when you come to these, that confidence, that momentum.
Come on.
Building.
Yeah, so I'm glad to see they added this. This is the wall jump. The wall jump, I wish they had in Detroit, maybe to slow it down a little bit, because we talked about that. Anything, when you start getting in the mid-40s lap times, then you're running 27, 28 lap main events. But here's that little afternoon sunrise here. Yep,
it's coming through.
Yep, and you've got. So tell us also about. We kind of know what they've been doing lately. The TV people really pushed to invert the typical running order, and they started now. They wanted the big boys, the big names, to right off the bat start with the 450 qualifying race right out of the gate. Yeah. So the very first television race you see is the 450 main big name stars. And then it's a little bit of a dicey mode where they're not sure. To me personally, I'd like to see them switch the LCQs back to the same as they're going to have the mains, because that second LCQ for the 250, they're down to 10 or 11 minutes before they can get to the starting line, and it's a little tight. But what do you think about that format of running the 450 heat race first?
Well, it's for the 450 guys, it's track's fresh, it's brand new.
Right.
So that's the positives. The negative is that when you race that early and then you're the last race of the day, the 2 things is the time you have in between, and secondly, how different the track is. I mean, you have a smooth track in your heat races, and then the thing's just chewed up by not so much because they do some work,
right?
But it's a much more different, especially the whoops.
Yes.
So
exactly.
For TV schedule, probably really good. But as I like to be my races closer together, so you have less downtime. And sometimes these guys ain't racing until 8:30 at night.
I know.
It's
so
a late,
2 or 3 hours.
Night.
So 2 hours plus by the time they get on the track. So, but after the wall, kind of a basic section. I mentioned earlier that to me the difficult sections are on both ends of the track. You're coming through right now in the corner of the end zone, off this roller, and then you can see right here, Derek, where we have an inner knob and a smooth outside to try to get people to change the rhythm. Obviously go off rhythm. Earlier in press day, you saw the same thing I saw. The top 450 guys were hitting this, downsiding that, and then they were triple, and then out of the tier. From here, if you do this, you basically can hit this first one and clear the single after the table, and then it throws you a different rhythm, which is good if you want. As the track gets beat up more, gets more ruts, you can go off rhythm, if you will, if you're normally running the inside there. But it just looked a little faster to downside that table right here
Yeah,
and then pop the triple and then launch it all the way into the corner.
Agreed. It definitely, that inside was, I think, the favorite line. I do think, and this is what we got to see how it plays out in the race, is this inside.
Yeah.
There's a little hump before it, so there's a bunch of ruts that develop after the rut. So guys were getting thrown left and right, and they're making mistakes. So just something to watch for. And maybe they start in the inside and they switch up the outside, but two different options.
Yep, and at 250 East Coast, I mean, we talking Till of two cities for the pro circuit team there.
Yeah.
We got Hostage Parker hits the whole shot, walks away, and then the other two riders, you know, you just ended up with just a rough start. So, you know, we'll see what happens. Again, there was a lot of talk about, they should have red flagged the start of the 250, but there really wasn't any riders on the track. They all had gotten pushed out, and, you know, they can kind of see how riders had some really damaged, bent up motorcycles, bent up handlebars, and tried to just do whatever they could.
And that's a good point, because like Hayden Deegan, right?
Yeah.
He could barely ride the bike, but he salvaged some points. And who never knows, like maybe that's the difference in the end. But time will tell.
Yeah. So coming off of that, we talked about fast line's probably going to be a triple and then a double right here, Derek. Yep. And then into this corner right here. And we always see like one or two lines kind of developing on the inside, and then we usually see 4 or 5, 6 coming out. And this is, to me, and this kind of starts into, I don't want to call it a basic section, but it's pretty basic for guys at this talent. You just go into a double and then your standard, you know, sort of a triple into another bowl corner to the finish. So the challenges are on each end of the track, basically.
Yeah,
each
100%.
Yep, each side.
And with this, I mean, this rhythm lane, or I should say rhythm, but this double into a triple, your time is made or lost right here, getting in and out of that corner.
Okay. And you know, there's always that argument. You could say, well, you want to make the track so difficult, right? You know, separate the best riders, but ultimately, the people and the fans in the stands, they want to see good racing. And we have seen some boring races. And I'm not calling the last one. You know, when Jet gets out front, he just has that ability to manage. Somehow he just manages. I don't know. He always just seems to have a little in the tank there to, you know, if he gets 2 or 3 seconds, he just goes, I better go a little bit, get 3, and then he holds for a while. And then, I mean, what do you see when you're watching a guy like Jet Lawrence?
Well, yeah, I mean, Jet Lawrence is phenomenal. We all can agree on that. But what I thought was cool, especially at a race like Detroit, he got out front, but he was making mistakes. I mean, he's pushing it. So it's not like it's a breeze for him. And I mean, look at our points. Look at the 450 points. We're the top 5. What's it, 11 points?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. That's the big talk right now. How we have, you know, this many rounds, and we just finally got our first repeat winner. And I keep getting people come up and asking me, hey, you know, this is since 1985. Since 1985. The last time we had this was 1985. And you came by the truck and I actually showed you. I didn't realize it was that either. We had 11 races, counting the one doubleheader in Seattle, but we ended up with 8 different winners in 11 rounds.
Yeah.
And that's pretty phenomenal. And at the end of it all, we're gonna try to go up this. There we go. Thanks. Sorry, Derek.
That's a stacked season. I mean, that's
crazy.
tough.
Yeah. So that's what we have here. We have more parity than we've probably had in years and years and years. And you look at the top 10. We were looking at the top 10 point standings. And I think there's 7 or 8 of them that are right in the hunt that are all within still one race. Yeah. So it's really nice. And another statistic we talked about, I had no idea about, but I got mentioned by David Eller, the owner of the Phoenix Honda team, that Dylan Ferrandis, I believe, is the only rider, at least according to what they said, that's the only rider that's actually competed every lap. He has not been lapped.
That's bizarre.
And we thought that was not possible. Then we started realizing that almost all those top riders at one point or another, including I think Jet Lawrence in San Francisco, have been lapped.
Yeah.
So Dylan Ferrandis, you know, I might be wrong, but I don't think so. But he might be the only guy to have actually competed in every lap of every main event. So interesting stat there too.
Crazy.
Yeah. So
a lot of top riders. You don't want to be loud. That's not.
Yeah. So coming over the finish line again in 62 to 64.
Yeah.
And now this was kind of fun.
Yeah, I agree.
When you saw this, did you get all itchy? Want to jump it?
Well, at first I didn't even cross my mind because whatever. I thought they had to take a left to get on the start straight. But now, after press, these guys tomorrow they're going to be basically quadding the same if they don't change.
Yeah.
But I mean.
So right here, Derek, what we're talking about. top guys, and I saw Chase do it, and I saw, I think AP do it for sure. I saw Dean Wilson do it, some other guys. Deegan did it on the 250. They're hitting that little bump right there, which is about the best 3-footer at the most. And they're clearing this table and clearing the one behind you over here.
Yeah,
and they're launching way out here. Well, in press day, they had them making a pretty tight corner. So really it was fun to watch, but maybe not any faster. But what Ryan's talking about is in the race, they're going across the starting line and into the sand section.
Yep.
So by doing that, you know,
obviously that's going to be fast. Being able to land off that finish line and just carry your momentum. I mean, that's going to be a lot of time to be made or getting lost.
it is. It's going to be fun to see.
And we'll see if they change it. You know, there's times that,
Yeah.
wow, it's too fast or it's too sketchy, and maybe we put a wall in there or something, but we'll see.
Well, I heard somebody talking about possibly doing a little roller after that finish line jump here. So we'll see.
Oh, so it slows them up.
Slow them down to where they can't just floor it and launch it off that thing or pin it. So here into this corner, not the deep soft sand we've had. This is kind of a little bit of a river sand. There's something mixed in with some clay. You can see here this is actually clay mixed in. So it's not going to be as squirrely as it normally is in here. I'd like to see some more lighter sand, like some sand bunkers. But here we go, behind the scenes sound check. Well, so we'll luckily for us, we're almost winding up anyhow, Ryan. So the 46th running here in the Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex, and again in the most beautiful stadium probably in the world. And we're honored to be able to race here.
It is a true honor. I mean, Texas Military Appreciation Night coming up, and
ATM Junior.
yeah, we got the juniors.
We'll be giving a little talk tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
You and I both participate in that.
Hoping the Orange Boys can put her on top. But yeah, I'm excited. It'll be a fun night of racing. I'll always intrigued to come here, even as a fan, to watch this. Thanks for coming.
Absolutely, Hall of Famer.
Yeah, you
Pleasure,
too.
man. All right. Well, thank you for tuning in here from Dallas metro area in Arlington, Texas. And next week, on the big one at Daytona. So see you next week.